Celebrate a community that can often be made to feel unseen. July marks Disability Pride Month, commemorating 32 years since the passing of the Americans with Disabilities Act. The landmark law prohibits discrimination based on disability. During this month's San Francisco Marathon, a focus on inclusivity and accessibility. The race expanded its program for runners with disabilities. Organizers worked with sponsors to help these runners who've overcome so much adversity finish the race. This includes a runner diagnosed with progressive multiple sclerosis.
Inclusivity is everything because, we work so hard just to do basic things. So to do something extra like a marathon is just crazy difficult, but so worth it. It lets people know that they're not done yet.
Years before the ADA passed in 1990, the Bay Area Outreach and Recreation Program, or BORP, was founded. Since then, it's provided sports, recreation, and fitness programming for people with physical disabilities. I spoke to Executive Director Rick Smith and board member Cynthia Noonan. Cynthia, let me start with you. What does Disability Pride Month and the anniversary of the ADA mean to you?
I went 34 years with not needing the ADA. I was aware of it. I worked for an organization, the ALS Association. We had a lot of clients in wheelchairs. So I was aware of the needs of people with physical disabilities. But now that I am a person who needs those accommodations, it's pretty amazing what the people who have done in the past have fought for what we have now. And there's still a lot that we need, and but at least there's something to build upon.
Rick, the Bay Area Outreach and Recreation Program, or BORP, marking 46 years of providing adaptive sports and recreation opportunities. How proud are you of the work that this organization continues to do?
Super proud. It's kind of interesting. Well, I've been here for a little over 10 years now, and I love coming to work every day. I love, helping to make opportunities for sports and recreation available for people with disabilities. I know how important that was in my life and my kids' lives, and so it's a very rewarding place to be. It's also interesting to note that BORP was founded in 1976, as you kind of alluded to. That was a good 14 years before passage of the ADA. So BORP has really got this rich history of being part of the civil rights movement. And, you can't be more proud of anything than that. So it's a real joy to be part of this.
Yeah. Cynthia, you're not only on the board of BORP, you're also a proud participant. Obviously, we know there's a physical aspect to this, but can you speak to how much these programs benefit the mind and the soul?
There's a little, aquatic park lake, and I rode this bike around, and I just was blown away. I mean, I kept coming back every week from the city, and I made a little video, put up on my YouTube channel, and share with my friends and family. And to that video, I put the song. There's this Jill Scott song called "Living My Life Like It's Golden." Well, those are the words, and that's what I felt like. Like I felt like I finally was able to have fun outside, doing outdoor physical things, because I used to do that before I became disabled. So it was a real eye opener to me, and I love it to this day, and it opened up like a whole new world. I'll say that.
Rick, during the pandemic, BORP found ways to provide these services that Cynthia talked about by going virtual, and in effect and in consequence, you've expanded your reach to the entire world. So as you look ahead to the next 46 years, where would you like to see these offerings go?
Well, I think the simple answer is, and I'm kind of focused on this all the time, is creating more opportunities. I mean, we have an incredibly rich menu of adaptive sports and recreation, but it's really a fraction of what's available to the able-bodied community. And so, we're constantly adding new programming. Most recently, it's been kayaking, adaptive climbing, As you mentioned, the virtual fitness is relatively new since the start of the pandemic. We went from probably serving 250 people a year to, over 1,000 easily from all over the world. So we're going to continue that. There's just there's plenty of new opportunities to explore and implement. So that's what we'll be focused on.
Everyone has limitations, but we can overcome a lot of what we perceive in our minds. And there are opportunities everywhere. And we might still have to fight for them, but they are out there. And the community now has grown exponentially, and the support is out there like it's never been before.
The game's growing more and more and getting more and more diverse, not only on the ice, but off the ice, and coaching and front office positions and scouting. So, this is a step for all minorities.
Coming up, the Sharks' new GM steps into the spotlight. We sit down with Mike Grier to talk hockey, family, and opening doors to diversity.
It's go time, people. Let's come together, laugh out loud, and share some hope and joy in my new show.
Premiere September 12th at 11 on Fox 2.
Go from tossing and turning to resting and relaxing with a game-changing adjustable base. Discover the perfect one for less at the Revive Sleep Center. A split design allows partners to relax in harmony, while the neck tilt feature offers comfortable positions for reading, working, and watching television. Thanks to Bluetooth technology, you can even control everything from your phone. Starting at just $445, experience the power of an adjustable base only at the Revive Sleep Center inside Living Spaces.
Living Spaces.
The Ford Store Morgan Hill is the #1 retail volume Ford dealer in the entire Bay Area and the most highly awarded Ford dealer in all of Northern California. Customers have shared that they continue to return to the Ford store because of our transparent bottom line sale price process and knowledgeable staff. Our customers never pay above MSRP as we never price our new vehicles with additional dealer markup. Plus, the 2023 F-150 order bank is now open. All only at the Ford Store Morgan Hill.
Hello, my name is Seth Chandler with Witter Coin right here in San Francisco. We've been in business since 1960, focused on the buying and selling of collectible coins, vintage jewelry, gold and silver bullion, and old U.S. paper money. I invite you to come visit our gorgeous new showroom right here on Lombard Street. We can show you our inventory, and we're more than happy to look at what you have, because a cornerstone of our business is that we give free, honest opinions about what your items are worth. There's no obligation. So I'm looking forward to seeing you in our showroom. Thank you.
What is it to play a strong female character? It's about pushing boundaries. This is how I can relate to women who have done something great. I think of women who've done so much. They have a voice. I think it inspires us. Having strong female characters is a good thing. What matters to me the most is that we depict human beings. I think we need more stories about the people that we don't usually talk about. Tony is strong, but she makes mistakes. She's vulnerable. She cries in her bed at nighttime. I want to tell those stories of humanity. What's behind this? What's behind the facade? And we're at the time now where we're part of a big movement, and a movement that has a voice. I want more of that.
We hired the best general manager available. Mike just happens to be black. The focus was on finding the best candidate for the job.
My job is to do the best I can for the San Jose Sharks organization, and if I do that, hopefully it opens the door to give other opportunities to other minorities to get in front office positions and maybe lead a team down the road as well.
Earlier this month, San Jose Sharks made history. The team named Mike Grier the new general manager, making him the first black GM in the National Hockey League's history. Grier played 14 years in the league with 4 teams, including the Sharks. His homecoming, breaking barriers in the sport. Grier, an incredibly humble man, calling it a special honor to be the first. He's been extremely busy since taking the reins, including naming a new head coach. I had the chance to sit down with him and reflect and discuss how he's hoping to open doors to more diversity in the league.
Mike, certainly appreciate the time. Let me ask you, it's been a couple weeks since you were named Sharks GM. Has it sunk in for you yet?
A little bit. but I haven't had too much time to kind of sit and soak it all in. But the job's been busy, and there's lots of things to do, and boxes to check and tick off, and so I've been busy, but I haven't really had a time to really sit back and soak it in and enjoy it. But it's been good.
The NHL just held its 105th season. You are the first black general manager in the history of the league. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, it means a lot. It's kind of it's definitely a special honor and something I take pride in, and realize that there's some responsibility with that. And the game's growing more and more and getting more and more diverse, not only on the ice but off the ice, and coaching and front office positions and scouting. So this is a step for all minorities, and hopefully I can do a good job and help open doors for others behind me.
On that note, let me ask, you've been around this game and around this league for a long time. So how has the team and the NHL changed over the years in becoming more diverse?
Well, there's definitely more people of color playing, and in general I think there's just a more openness and acceptingness about people who are, even if it's Europeans, they're more open, and people aren't, just the North American, Canadians or Americans. I think the dressing room and front office are just more accepting of different types of people coming in.
How important is it that there are people of color in positions like yours, in the front office staff, in part of the scouting teams that represent the communities that they're working in?
I think it's very important. I think, for kids growing up, not everyone can be Wayne Gretzky, or not every kid dreams of being Wayne Gretzky. So there's some kids who dream of building teams or scouting or analytics, whatever it may be. I think it's nice for them to be able to see a person of color and a minority and doing well in a front office position.
I want to ask you about your family a little bit. You come from quite the family. Your brother, Chris, the GM of the Dolphins, your dad, longtime coach, front office exec for the NFL teams. What was their response to you when you told them you were taking this position?
They're really excited. Both of them, I owe them a lot. They both kind of helped guide me through this process, and even, from younger years, they've always shared their thoughts and views and visions with me. And when I told them, my dad couldn't have been more excited, and he started, immediately went into mentor mode, trying to tell me what I need to do. I need to do this, need to do that, things to kind of help me get ready for the job. And then Chris was, he was thrilled for me. He's my big brother, and I always looked up for him, but he's always looked out for me and wanted the best for me. So he was super happy as well.
Is there any specific advice that they gave you as you sort of embark on this new chapter of your career that you can feel comfortable sharing with us?
One of the big things, one is to be myself, and two is kind of, once you have a vision, and stick with it, stick with the vision you see and the process you see, go through it, and don't let, outside noise or other things influence you and get you off the path that you think is best.
Clearing the blasting, and he misses the net. On the
In your career, particularly in your 14 years playing, including some time in San Jose, were there challenges and tribulations that led you to where you are? Were there things that you learned along the way, not only in playing hockey, but being a black man in that process?
I think there's always things you go through, not just, being a minority, but whenever you play sports and, you're being judged and, people have opinions of you, and good and bad. You have to learn how to deal with that. So, and it's, being black, it's kind of, you even have a little bit more of it, people who are doubting you and doubting your credentials and doubting that you can play the game or work in the game. So I think all that just kind of teaches you perseverance and determination.
Obviously, sports is perhaps a representation of the entire country and what is going on, right? And it can often be a catalyst for change. So when you consider what has happened in our country, what continues to go on in our country, how important is it to keep that in mind as you operate in this space?
Yeah, I think, sports is like you said, it's a little bit like society. So there's all different kinds of people from all over and with different views and different opinions. So, I think it's definitely important that the game keeps evolving and changing and, having an open mind and including and being inclusive to all different types of people.
When you look to that rink and you see all the kids that are out there today, and for the young men and women of color that see you and think, I could be him someday, or he looks like me, what do you want them to feel when they see you?
I want them to see someone who's worked hard, carries himself the right way. I think that's something my dad always stressed to me. You know, it's just as important as how you play as how you carry yourself. Everyone's going to be kind of judging you and watching you. So for me, it's just to see someone who's goes about their day, works hard, but carries themselves the right way, and you know, is maybe someone they can look up to as if they, you know, if they work hard and they have a dream, that there's no reason that they can't achieve it.
On that note, what further advice would you have for young people that look up to you and think that perhaps they can break barriers in their own space, whether it be in sports or arts or media or literature, et cetera, et cetera?
Basically, just don't let anyone tell you you can't do something. You know, if there's something you really are passionate about and that you believe in and that you want to do and you're willing to put in the time and effort and work to get there, then go for it. Don't let someone tell you you can't do it.
Because you played the game, when you're in the clubhouse and you're in the locker room, do you want your players to feel a certain way because you understand the skates that they're in?
Yeah, I think, you know, I'd like them to know that I realize that it's a long season, it's a grind, that the game is difficult. You know, sometimes when you're watching up in the press box, the game slows down and it looks easy and you start saying, why didn't this guy do that? Why didn't you do that? Do this or that? You know, I think I'd like them to know that I understand the game's hard, and you know, I'm going to do everything I can to make them the best players they can be and do the best for the organization, so that they know I'm working hard up there, that you know, they'll have, and I have their back, that they'll want to play hard, not only for me but and their teammates, but for the whole organization.
History was also made in the NHL's developmental league, the American Hockey League. The Coachella Valley Firebirds named Jessica Campbell as an assistant coach. She's the first female assistant coach in the AHL's history. Campbell tells me and little girls watching her, what you see is what you can believe in. Jessica, thanks so much for taking the time. You bring a wealth of knowledge and skills to the Coachella Valley Firebirds. What does it mean to you to be the first female assistant coach in the AHL's history?
Yeah, I think obviously I'm very honored and humbled. It's going to be really exciting to be part of the first in Coachella, and I think just with hockey down in the Valley, knowing what it means to be part of the Firebirds staff is something obviously that's means a lot to me, and I'm very privileged to be in this position. So I'm excited to get started and to see what the year brings.
We're seeing women break barriers in front offices across sport, especially hockey, many pointing to Cami Granato. What does this kind of moment mean to you, that you're being acknowledged for your skill set and women across the sport are being acknowledged for their skill set, and then you just happen to be a woman?
Yeah, and I think that it's an important conversation right now. Obviously, I don't take it lightly, the position that I'm in, but I've always seen myself as a coach since transitioning from playing to coaching. That's just what I've seen myself as, and I think the optics are probably a little bit different. The reality is, but I look to people like Cami, and I can remember when Cami got announced with the Kraken only a couple of years ago, and that was motivation for me because I was entering into this space as well at that time, and you know, what you see, you can believe in. And people like Cassie Campbell, she's been a mentor and support to me all throughout my playing career. And just seeing the work that they've done in the game obviously keeps you motivated and driven to keep on with the path. But I've tried to keep my focus very much just on being the best coach that I can be every day, so that I'm making those steps towards my goals, but not really focusing my energy on that, because ultimately that's not what it's about. It's about enjoying and bringing my passion every day to what I do best at. So that's where I keep myself grounded, and probably will continue to do the same.
I spoke to San Jose Sharks' new GM, Mike Greer, last week, who's breaking barriers in his own right. And what he told me was, I hope to open the door for those behind me. How much does that resonate with you as you go on with your career?
Yeah, I mean, those words are very close to it. What I say, you know, I see myself very much like Mike said. I hope that the product of my work and my coaching will actually allow others to hold the doors for other women behind me. So whether I have to do the holding or somebody else opens the door for them, like a Mike Greer that understands the challenges and the barriers. But ultimately, I think what it comes down to is anyone, no matter who they are, if they're the best at what they do, most fit for any job, they should be deserving of the same opportunity. The reality is we might have a different path, but like I said, whatever it is that you love to do, if you truly love to do it and you're the best at what you do, then one day you should be deserving of that same opportunity. And obviously, I don't take it lightly that I'm trying to be a living example of that every day. And though I'm not going to be perfect in that process, I try to model at least the mindset and the work ethic, and also the humility and gratitude along the way to make sure that they see if you can work towards your goals and be hardworking and diligent and resilient along the way, then really anything can come for you. And so it's that path, but it definitely is a very exciting opportunity for me to be in the position that I am, knowing that there could be an impact and a greater impact later in the game for the young girls to come behind.
When you're underserved and have poor access to care, that you feel even a small amount that you do makes the largest impact in a human life.
Still to come, sports medicine for the underprivileged. The North Bay nonprofit delivering care from their hearts. Stay with us.
"24 years on the road, 4 years on the road. Our performance is meant to be driven. Acura Precision Certified."
Visit your Northern California Acura dealer for attractive offers on a certified pre-owned vehicle.
With Buy Before You Sell from Really, more doors stay open to you. We buy your new home on your behalf, so you don't lose out on a place you love. Buy before you sell, so you can start making memories.
Witter Coin was founded right here in San Francisco back in 1960 by Mr. Dean Witter, with the basic premise being everyone has the right for a free, honest appraisal about what their items are worth. Every single day, collections both large and small come right into our shop. It's quite fascinating what comes in here. It's pretty exciting. I invite you to bring in your items where our team will examine them. We'll tell you what we'll pay, and if you're not ready to sell, that's fine. At least you know what your items are worth. My name is Seth Chandler, and I invite you to come visit our gorgeous new showroom on Lombard Street in San Francisco. Looking forward to meeting you.
The Ford Store Morgan Hill is the #1 retail volume Ford dealer in the entire Bay Area and the most highly awarded Ford dealer in all of Northern California. Customers have shared that they continue to return to the Ford Store because of our transparent bottom-line sale price process and knowledgeable staff. Our customers never pay above MSRP as we never price our new vehicles with additional dealer markup. Plus, the 2023 F-150 order bank is now open. All only at the Ford Store Morgan Hill.
You know, it says out of workshop for a reason.
I'm so sorry to bother you, boss, but have you ever heard of the World Cup? Well, they moved it to the holidays.
Wait, like the actual World Cup? To my holiday season? Are you kidding me?
It's a big deal. There's Messi and Ronaldo.
Yeah, but that's my time to shine, right? I mean, that guy's got like 300 million followers. I mean, how am I supposed to compete with that?
I think it's like 400 million.
400 million? Okay, great. You know what? Get Blitzen on the phone. I got to get on the next flight up there. We got work to do. I gotta go.
Meet Acura's heroes of performance. Only available at the Acura Summer of Performance. This summer, visit your local Acura dealer for attractive offers on the MDX.
In the North Bay, a doctor and 3 athletic trainers teamed up to create a nonprofit providing sports medicine to underprivileged student athletes and cancer survivors. It's called the Athletic Rehab Clinic, and the goal is to provide world-class care to those who may find it out of reach.
Mona, you're obviously the driving force here. Not only is this for underprivileged students, student athletes, but also for cancer survivors. Tell me where that part came from for you.
Cancer for me specifically is more focused because it's so prevalent in my family. And just having seen when they were going through physical therapy, just the hardship aspect of it. And then you loop in the athletes who, again, don't have the same privilege, right? That I feel my family has been fortunate, I would say, with getting quality care. That for me, that angle was important because I think they actually do get missed out and left out. So we wanted it to be more open to that specific population that I feel does not maybe get that level of attention.
Cheyenne, you're an athletic trainer. Describe what a difference it can make in a young athlete's life and career to receive quality care and injury prevention techniques.
Yeah, so I think a lot of our patients right now, they're younger children. Just the benefit that I'm seeing right now at such an early age, just trying to, rehab some injuries just from personal experience when I was 13, kind of blew out my knee and I just didn't know where to go from there. So I kind of see that in some of these younger athletes too, just trying to get that care, and really glad to be that driver, to be that person to kind of help them. So just seeing it live, seeing it happen, and then just trying to get them through the progression just has been really rewarding so far.
Jason, you're an Air Force veteran. I want to thank you for your service, but the website speaks about holistic care, and I'm sure no one understands better than you do how important it is to heal not just the body, but the mind and the spirit. Can you speak to the advantages of that?
Making sure that the mind and the spirit itself is kind of changing together at the same time we're doing that physical change as well. There's a whole mental aspect of changing the injury, be it just making sure that they're able to see themselves move without pain, just in their mind, or just be able to be, when things start getting stressed out, they start feeling like the injury is just starting to take over too much of their life, that they can just be able to kind of just get away from it and just get in that, what we call imagery, just be able to see themselves in a nice, comfortable, safe place. And then at the same time, just start, again, like I said, just seeing that they can move freely and then kind of start healing from there as well.
Doc, you see patients every day. You obviously just saw one, but speak to how rewarding it has been to work with some of these athletes that may have not been able to afford this kind of care.
Yeah, absolutely. So in medicine, some of us are fortunate to have, like me, traveled and worked all over the country in different population centers. And I think if you get a doctor that's midway in their career or later on in their career, they will most likely often tell you that the most rewarding care is in the most rural, underserved areas. It's just inherent to medicine, and I think all service industries. It doesn't have to be just medicine, but it's obviously prevalent in medicine when you're underserved and have poor access to care, that you feel even a small amount that you do makes the largest impact in a human life. Knowing these folks don't have access to travel to big centers and get that type of care, it would benefit the population and our communities for someone like me to go to an underserved area and take that level of care there where they wouldn't necessarily have access to it. And in a nutshell, that's what Moni, Cheyenne, and Jason are doing through these ventures, is they're bringing their sort of doctorate level care, because that's what they are, and they're bringing that to a smaller community that probably, if they weren't here, is not going to have a doctorate level care in what they do in athletic training, maybe for years or never.
The population and the number of patients we're seeing has increased. And I think our focus remains on providing high quality care. And we want to continue to focus on that. And at the same time, we do need to focus on, is there any help we can get, specifically just around funding?
That's our show for today. As always, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Be good to each other.